What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your man Phil Williams from the Phil Williams Show. Yep. You know who that is. If you don't know, that is Lita Whitener. Welcome.
Thank you, Phil.
How you
Good
doing?
to be here.
Awesome. Man, we are going to do some things we want to call hardcore truths today. And we are just so blessed to be here and so blessed to have you here. Mike Johnson, how you doing? Was that Catherine Jackson? Michelle Markham?
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, Michelle Markham. How you guys doing? Welcome. Love you too, Michelle. God bless you guys. Willie Glenn.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Man, just for you guys this tuning into my show for the first time, again, welcome. I am a tall, true conservative, so don't adjust your thing. Yes, it's accurate. I am tall. And Cliff Kelly.
Cliff, what's up, man?
Michelle, how you doing, Michelle? Christy Collins. Again, Christy, welcome, and
Eddie.
I pray for you all the time. Eddie, I'm going to take good care of her, Eddie, I promise. She's safe with me, man. Trust me. No liberalism will seep through the door that we will not stump on. Trust me. But Jim Briggs, how you doing, Jim? And Christy, again, we're praying for you all the time. We miss you here dearly. Can't wait for you to get back in the saddle over here with us.
Gary Blackman is
Gary Blackman.
Hey, Gary.
What's up, baby? Thomas Braun, what's up, buddy? This is one of my bestest buddies. Alice Steen, how you doing, Alice? God bless you guys. But, we can say hi all day today, but we're going to get to the getting on, and we're going to get this thing going. Christian conservative, absolutely. Kendra Davis, how you doing? But anyway, let me first, in the TV world, they kind of call them disclaimers or whatever. Matter of fact, it ain't even a disclaimer. I'm just going to just preference this thing right here. I understand all of the interesting thought processes that comes with Lita Whitener. One of the things that makes me really want to do this post today with her live in the studio, because something gets lost in translation on when you read what a person types. Something always gets lost in translation. This is why I do these kind of posts. I don't like to type much because something can get lost in translation. I like for you to look in my eyes. I like to see that I have no notes and things like this. Not to say that it's not bad to have notes or something like that. But when you hear our voice, it's difficult to misunderstand that. But when you read our typing, you can kind of take that and put inferences in anywhere you want. One of the things that's interesting about Lita is she can have her stuff dragged 50 ways from Sunday at any given time. Twisted. I mean, chubby checker twisted. I mean, it could just go. Because this is the one thing that I like to preference this show with. And this is me speaking to you Cruz supporters. And I really like this to go across the board, but it just seems like Cruz supporters really need to understand this point. It was Cruz that told us specifically not to trust Donald Trump. He told us this. This is after he won us over as a true conservative, standing in green eggs and hamming us for 23 hours, stopping Obamacare every way he possibly can, everything he possibly could do. But he was the one that told us not to trust this dude one iota. He was the one that told us he will sell us out. This is the guy, he told us this after he defended his wife from attacks from this dude. Defended his children. No, don't forget now. This is so funny that Roseanne Barr calls somebody a monkey. Because Ted Cruz defended his two children from Donald Trump calling his children monkeys. And he told us specifically, don't trust this dude. And we said, Cruz, yes, you're the man. Oh my God. He's standing against the cartel. And when we hear cartels, we think of drug cartels, and drug cartels cut people's heads off and leaves people in the middle of San Pablo, Texas or something of this age. This is what we understand about cartel. And Cruz called these people the cartel. That's what he called the GOP or the people in Washington. He called them the cartel. And we were like, yes. yes, I can be honest, I was a Cruz humper. I loved him for that. But he told us, don't trust this dude.
And he didn't even have to.
So now, this is what I would love you Cruz supporters to understand. Before you want to take everything that Lita says, before you want to take everything that we say, I say, or anybody else says that seems to be a little contrary or holding of accountability to Cruz and take it and make it, you accuse the Lita of saying she called Cruz a socialist. When all she said, she typed was, it seems that he's supporting socialist policies. She didn't call him a socialist.
And he did support a socialist policy.
So,
government-controlled health care.
Come on.
You don't get any more socialist than that, people.
And so the point, yeah, you're right, Mary Lou. And what did this dude said about his father? This dude said that his father was responsible for the killing of an American president. And Cruz told us not to trust him. So when she says she's supporting a socialist policy, don't let your Cruz humping take her words and make her saying Cruz is a socialist. Come on. When it seems like, she's going to get deeper into this, when it seems like he's drifting into this comprehensive gun control thing, come on, don't take her as saying Cruz doesn't support the Second Amendment. She's saying, hold on a second, where are you going with this?
Find your spine, dude.
Where are you going?
No, wait, because I want to address that. Can I? May I?
Please, by all means.
Okay. When Ted Cruz stands in front of a camera after the shooting in Texas, the Ted Cruz that I supported would have stood there and said, there is a solution to this problem, people. The solution is to end gun-free zones in America and stop making our children sitting ducks. That is the Ted Cruz I would have supported. What Ted Cruz did is he stood in front of that camera and said, basically laid out a comprehensive gun control measure, tried to elicit support for that, said we're going to do everything we have to do to stop this. Well, there's a solution. You end gun-free zones, but even then you don't have a solution, because if someone is intent on killing another human being, there's not a single law in this world that's going to stop them. Okay, so when Ted Cruz stands there and he rolls out this mini comprehensive gun control measure, and then he goes, I'm going to go back to Washington and bring this back to Washington, and we're going to debate about it, that tells me he's lost his spine. Because if his spine was fully intact and he was fully supportive of the Second Amendment with no exceptions, he would have stood there and said, end gun-free zones and let us defend our children.
So now, I want to dispel the myth that we want Ted Cruz to lose. I want to get rid of that right now. Because in order for Ted Cruz to lose, that means we have to have a stark, raving, flaming, rainbow-colored liberal to replace him. So Ted Cruz has issues. But that don't mean that we want a liberal to replace him. But if we hold him accountable, then maybe he'll say, hold on a second. This is about the concern. Matter of fact, let me put it like this. Ted Cruz set the bar.
Yeah.
Anything liberal, anything Obamacare, I'm willing to shut the government down and filibuster 23, 33, 93 hours. I will read a children's book to occupy the... He set that bar. So people like us say, okay, when it comes to Obamacare, Ted Cruz is going to stand 23 hours, 25 hours against anybody who's pushing it. He set that bar. So that when that bar gets lowered and we go, whoa, what the heck is happening? What just happened here? Did he just seem like he was supporting something like socialized medicine? And then now you Cruz people want to jump on her and drag her through the mud? Because she's saying, whoa. What happened to green eggs and ham? What happened to I'll take a stand forever? What happened? And then when I, as a person, sees the same thing and says, that seat is more important than the assassination against his wife and children. That seat is more important than the assassination against his father. That seat is more important than the warning, run, Will Robinson, danger, danger, Donald Trump will kill you. His seat is more important than that warning.
Ted Cruz.
He is a politician from this point on for me.
Yes. In fact, Ted Cruz is the guy. It's funny how we went from Ted Cruz, the Ted Cruz I supported, who was the one guy who stood for 23 hours and tried to defeat the funding of the Obamacare insurance subsidies. He was the one dude, even though he knew it wasn't going to work, he stood. Now we've gone from that one guy stood to, oh, he's only one guy.
And that's an amazing transformation. And so now, again, I'll slow this down and I'll even calm down for those people that might think that I'm yelling at them. Ted Cruz set the bar. We love that bar he set. He cannot be both. He cannot be the only one that can save the world. And then to amend to whatever the compromising thing appears to be, he's only one. See, it can't be both. Now, me personally, you guys ready? And this might get me in trouble with some of my hardcore supporters. I do not want Berto to win. Beto.
Of course not.
Beto, whatever his name is. I do not want him to win. But let me tell you something. If a Democrat wins, we know exactly what we're fighting. I do not want him to win. But if Ted Cruz knows we are going to hold him accountable, he will not let any essence of liberalism seep into anything because of political maneuvering. I'm not for four-dimensional chess when the debt is being put off on my children and grandchildren. I'm not for five-dimensional hooky-booky when you, my Facebook friends, are being set up to pay something for a political seat. I'm not for any of that stuff. I'm just not for it. But I know how to heck to fight a liberal. I know how to fight one of them jokers tooth and nail. I'd rather have somebody I know how to fight and I can win versus somebody that I have to might ease up on and then he can get me. And I might have to ease up on and then he can slap me. And then I can ease up on and then he can stab me in the back. I'd rather fight somebody I know I'm going to fight tooth and nail than fight somebody that I don't know where they're coming from.
Fight somebody that's up there voting just like a Beto would, because that's what happened in the spending measure, okay? Listen, guys, what happened in the spending measure is this. We had all of Obama's agenda laid out to be voted for to allocate the funds through appropriations, okay? Ted Cruz voted yes. And the excuse that's being made is that because of the hurricane funding. You know, I get he's from Texas. I get that. But it was exactly the same agenda and exactly the same policies when it was Hurricane Sandy. Okay? And he stood, and that's the Ted Cruz that I supported, because he said, I don't care what needs to be funded. I'm not for big government. I'm not for funding Planned Parenthood. I'm not for funding Obamacare subsidies. I'm not for this. I'm not for that. I'm not, all of the Obama era policies. Okay? So he voted no. So what does that leave us to believe as conservatives if he votes yes when it's a measure that just because his Texas policy was wrapped into it, and granted, that is not Ted Cruz's fault. That is the swamp's fault.
And matter of fact, can I chime in on that? Now check this out now. This is the same Ted Cruz that told us Mitch McConnell was a liar. Exactly. He told him to his face. He stood up in front of the middle of the cartel leader and said, you're a liar, dude. So guess what? Ted Cruz knows that Mitch McConnell will wrap something for Texas around something or inside of something that's liberal so that he can get that one vote. See, don't forget now, Ted Cruz is bigger than a one vote. So for people to take that, well, he's just one guy. No. See, as conservatives, because we're a very rare breed, because we're like the very minority of the minority in the Republican side or the GOP. See, a conservative carries more weight than a GOP Republican or a right-leaning whatever. So Ted Cruz is not just one guy because he's asked to represent conservatism. He said, I am the guy that understands the Constitution because I fought the Supreme Court and I won. And things of this nature. He asked for us as conservatives to trust in his conservatism. So he's not just one vote. Texas is not just one state. Ted Cruz represents a bunch of conservatives that want us to hold to true conservatism because this is what's going to save this country. Conservatism is the Superman to the Lex Luthor of liberalism.
And if we fail to hold them accountable,
come on,
we're just going to bleed into the swamp.
See, this is the thing. Ted Cruz in Texas will always win Texas. He'll always win Texas because he's Texas's responsibility when it comes to voting. If we vote for Ted Cruz in 2018, that is voter fraud. So holding him to the conservative mantle that he asked for, that helps Texas. But it also helps the nation. He asked for it. He wasn't Ben Carson and begged to run for president. Ben Carson was begged to run for president. And how did that work out for us? Ted Cruz asked as a true conservative. We were so searching for something conservative that even myself supported Ben Carson. Emotionally not thinking, this is why I'm hesitant on endorsing anybody. Emotionally not thinking that Seventh-day Adventist doesn't equal Christian. But I gave him Christian credibility. Just because he's soft-spoken, he's a neurosurgeon, I gave him, and he's life-saving, I gave him conservative credibility.
But then I brought him around.
Then she brought me to Ted Cruz. So now, for all you Cruz supporters, and I apologize for this first 15, 20 minutes sounding like we're against Cruz. We're not. We're against liberalism. We're against socialism. We're against communism, Marxism, fascism. We're against all of that in any form. And right now, a 97% conservative voting record is not good enough when we're watching our country lose to the 3% that they didn't vote conservative. That's not good enough for me. Does that mean that he has to be 100%? No, because we're not 100%. I'm not 100%. Lita's not 100%. We are flawed human beings that make flawed issues. But when you represent me and you ask for my vote, I want you to green, egg, and ham by your damn self for conservatism. That's all. Beto, I hope you get your butt kicked. Cruz and any other person that wants to wrap themselves around conservatism, I would like for you to know that we're watching you.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some of these issues, Phil.
Can we talk about some of these issues?
Yeah.
Let's talk. I just hope you Cruz supporters understand that we're not against Cruz. We're just against compromise on conservatism. And Cruz is a person that asked for that mantle. Exactly. He asked for it. That's all.
And he earned it.
I think he earned it. He got it from me.
So you hold. Once you earn it, you keep it.
Come on.
By promoting these conservative ideas, by voting and standing for these conservative ideals, for not wavering on these ideas.
And then you tell us this dude's a shark and he's going to eat us alive, Jaws Part 7, and then Mitch McConnell is the turtle from... radioactive turtle from a Godzilla movie, and then you go with these people after you tell us that how crooked they are. That's politics, man, and that's cool. If you want to be a politician, fine. Then let us treat you like a politician. But if you say you're going to be a conservative savior, then man, green eggs and ham, everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. Everything.
All right, so we're going to talk about some of these issues.
Yeah,
okay? Because these are important. And this is what we're seeing as conservatives. We're watching a lot of these issues just kind of fall to the wayside because it's all about personality now. I mean, you have Roseanne Barr, who is actually more important now than policy. And policy is important because these are the things that are affecting our country. All right, the Russia thing. The Russia thing is very important. And to a conservative, it should be vital. And let me tell you why. Is that every single one of us stood locked in step, side by side, arm in arm, when we were spilling the beans about Carter Page, Paul Manafort, during the primaries, And Flynn, okay, we knew the story about Carter Page. We were screaming it from the rooftops. We knew about Paul Manafort being on the payroll of Putin's puppet over there in Ukraine, Viktor Yanukovych, or whatever the heck his name was. Okay, we knew that. And we were screaming it from the rooftops. All right, Flynn, we knew about Flynn. We knew about Flynn's son. We knew the whole story. And we were screaming. It wasn't the liberals. The liberals don't get to take credit for this because they didn't even care at that point. They thought their woman was going to win. And they didn't care that Trump was knee-deep in Russian muck. Okay? All right, so we were screaming it from the rooftops, every one of us in unison. And now all of a sudden, all the people that are now Trump-humping Republicans, Republicrats, decide they're going to turn the other cheek, and none of that matters. In fact, they're going to dismantle Mueller any way that they can.
And then let's add to her little
They
list.
don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know the truth.
It was Donald's children that was telling you how knee-deep they are in Russian money. And we get the bulk of our money from Russia. All this stuff was happening. See, it was cool. See, this is my opinion. Here's my opinion on Trump. The liberals knew exactly what they were doing. The liberal media, everything. They knew exactly what they were doing. They found a way to not only cement liberalism for years and years to come, but to wipe out conservatism for years and years to come. They knew it. The cabal is liberals implanting a lifelong liberal that registers with the magical R as a Republican. The Republicans desperate to keep the House, the Senate, and the White House. Reince Priebus saying we have to have crossover votes in order to do this. And Donald Trump becoming the acceptable choice to make sure that we occupy three branches of government. And then now that the liberals have infiltrated, now we have conceded all the moral high ground. This is the thing about Roseanne Barr that you guys really need to understand. Roseanne Barr is showing how the liberals have taken the moral high ground because of Trump. This is a communist. Roseanne Barr is nowhere Republican, conservative, or anything. But just because she supports Trump, you give her this credibility. She holds some fictitious transgender balls while she sings doesn't even sing the national anthem, while she makes fun of the national anthem on a national stage. That's not conservative. That's not Republican. That's not libertarian. That's just wicked. But ABC gets to say, we have the moral high ground. Liberals get to say, we have the moral high ground. They get to say, we stand for the Constitution. Everything that we own the market on, we have conceded it to a lifelong liberal that has not done a hill of beans for conservatism other than being the one who made the wildebeest exist. We stood together because of Donald Trump. Because why? Donald Trump was the one who supported Hillary. And Hillary seemed to be the focus. We can't have Hillary. Donald Trump is going like this. Yes. Yes.
And with the help of Russia, they
and Rush Limp Balls and Shonda Spanks and all this stuff. Why? Because they want power. They want ratings. Donald Trump comes with an embedded 35 to 45 million eyeballs. Well, you multiply it by 90 million eyeballs, but except for that one guy that's in the woods somewhere that lost his eye to a deer. But anyway, the point is this. They're TV people. Donald Trump is ratings gold. This is why Donald Trump talks about ratings.
Let's talk about.
They're finance people. And don't forget, Rush's corporation and Sean's corporation, they got permanent tax cuts. Well, we got temporary ones. And I'm sure she's going to get into that too. Mm-hmm. See, don't forget who sold you out and why they sold you out and why they will keep selling you out. Because you're looking at a personality versus a principle. If you stick to your principles, find a way to go pick up Jesus where you left him. To go for this only evil that's left. See, that's another thing you guys forget. If you bought into the lesser of two evils, now you only have one evil. And so now you're supporting an evil. You don't have a choice. They're trying to turn Mueller into the new Hillary. That's all they're trying to do with that. They're trying to make her the new Hillary. Make him the new Hillary.
Let's talk about let's talk about this. I have to address this because this is
I'm typing my inner Rubio real quick.
Lifelong pro-life advocate, it really bothered me to see the Trump tweet that came out last week. Wow. I think it was, where he says that we have a pro-life president, a pro-life vice president, a pro-life Senate, a pro-life. Really? Okay, this is the same man who, because of discernment, we know that is not pro-life, because he said the words, I am pro-choice in every respect. And when the interviewer said, even in regards to partial birth abortion, Donald Trump said, yes. See, I'm not from Iowa. My values are different. Okay, so he told us that. Okay, so we're, of course, everybody's, he's changed. He's a good Christian man now. He's God-sent, and he's changed. Okay.
Reminds me of Barack Obama, yes, we can.
Okay, so...
Yes, we can what? Fundamentally transform this country. So you got to add stuff to it.
So if he has changed Trump people who support Trump, who think he's changed, why are we funding them to the tune of $1 billion a year? Why are we funding Planned Parenthood to the tune of $1 billion a year? And they're going on every single day to slaughter 3,000 babies. Every single day. Don't tell me the man is pro-life, okay? And then when your favorite politician is funding the murder of those 3,000 babies every day, because by a vote, don't tell me that they have conservatism's best interest in their heart. Don't tell me that.
And I have to say that, yes, Ted Cruz is in a very tough position, because the hurricane in Houston or in Texas was devastating. And he is sent there to protect Texas. I understand that. It's a very, very hard position to be in.
Absolutely.
But please, if you want that understanding, which I'm giving you, can you understand how it feels to a person that wants Planned Parenthood not to have my tax money, chopping babies up? Can you understand that? Yes, I understand he was in a bad position. I understand the people in Houston needed. I'm not saying that he should have sacrificed the people of Houston. But I think he could have made it a little bit more clearer. I think he could have came out, just like he did in the article, seems like he's loving Trump. I think he could have came out and said, check this out. This is really, really messed up, and this is why the cartel needs to be disbanded. This is why the swamp, I think he should have started his 2020 campaign right then and there. This is why the swamp needs to be drained, because look at what this lying Mitch McConnell has done. We got to continue with 3,000 babies being massacred so I can help my district that's being flooded to death. If he would have came and said something like that, everybody would be like, that's the Ted Cruz I'm talking about. He does have to do his political maneuvering so he can get but he's also slapping these people in the face that's doing this kabuki dance with people's lives. So now we got to take the living and get them some water treatment and stuff in their homes and get them some homes back, while Planned Parenthood gets to continue to chop up our children with the help of our tax money. Yes, it's a bad situation to be in. But I'm used to him calling out these bad situations.
Exactly. That's
I'm used
the bar
to it.
that he set.
Not for us to figure it out and then us to argue with each other about what Ted Cruz meant. Isn't he one of the most articulate people in the Senate? So why can't he come and tell us? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to just make it about Cruz, because there's a lot of Republicans that we care about, or conservatives we care about, that signed on to that same thing. Because why? The cartel is good at holding hostages. That's what cartels do. They threaten beheadings and killings, and they make you make hostage tapes. That's what cartels do. But Cruz was the cartel caller-outer.
Yes. He set that bar. We didn't set it.
Come on.
He set that bar.
But this is the thing. If we, the people, came together more for Houston versus them, the government, then we wouldn't have this problem. See, George Bush, Jr., he set this bar, and I hated him for it. When that tsunami happened, and then the American government pledged billions of dollars towards the tsunami, I said, oh my God. No, the American people are the most generous people on the planet. Don't do this in the thing of government, because then everybody will always look to government to when God bless the American people to handle these things. And we sat back and I watched George Bush do this thing, and we haven't looked back since. A natural disaster happens here in Atlanta. Streets get iced. The weather people come. The people are stranded or get away from their children for 2 and 3 days. Why? Because they're waiting for the government to tell them they can go home. A hurricane's coming in Florida. We see it 2 weeks ahead of time. And we're waiting for the government to tell us to board our windows. Our farmers had an almanac to know what to do with bad weather. Not a bureaucrat, an almanac. We used to be able to watch our dogs and say, well, my dog is kind of leaning to the left. That means a hurricane's coming. My dog is kind of wagging to the right. That means a tornado's coming. We used to do things like that. We the people, not them the government. And now we're all hoodwinked and bamboozled into the only way that we can help our children with the opioid crisis is the government. The government is all jacked up. They're all cartel, swampy, and all kinds of stuff. Matter of fact, might be willing co-conspirators in the demise of our children through opioids. But what are we the people doing? See, our senators and congressmen, they're supposed to, one, represent us. So if we're sellouts, then yes, they'll be sellouts. If we stand strong, then we'll elect people who stand strong. And they'll know how we stand strong, and they won't sway wrong. See, if we the people get our act together, we can stop the opioid crisis probably next week. But no, we have to wait for the swamp creatures and the parasites and all the special interests and all this kind of stuff. And our solution to our babies dying in the streets and on drugs and heroin and stuff like this has to wait until these guys get finished fighting. And after we get finished getting beat up because we're not supporting the one who's fighting, and then he's going to lose to a person that's all that kind of stuff. And now our babies just got to wait. Planned Parenthood is buying new houses and condominiums and probably
funding liberals.
Probably participating in the new building of a new Trump Tower somewhere off of the arms and legs of our children in the womb. See, we the people ain't got our act together. That's what I'm about. Well, and I think that's what she's about.
And look, it's important to note this. I mean, you have to look at what's going on right now in Washington with this this amnesty bill that is being. 23 Republicans have joined 129 Democrats in signing a discharge position, which will trigger an automatic vote on amnesty next month. They need 3 more Republicans. Oh, they'll get it easy. I mean, we know that. This is the duopoly that we've been talking about since 2014, actually before then. But when you watched the Republicans concede every single thing to Obama, and now you're watching them concede everything to Trump, because this is Trump's agenda. Because Trump's plan, the plan that he promoted, is the pro-amnesty bill that would give 1.8 million illegal immigrants amnesty immediately. And then that would lead to 5 to 8 million more within a very short amount of time. And now we have MS-13, we have a 600% border interdiction right now in America, and MS-13 is join a welcome committee and welcome MS-13 to your sanctuary city near you. Because that's exactly what's happening. MS-13, who is bringing in the opioids that Phil is talking about, they are the ones responsible for murdering our children with opioids. They're being funded. And which, by the way, sanctuary cities are still fully funded by our current administration and our current government. So don't tell me that the Republicans and the Democrats are any different. They're exactly the same. All of the same things are being funded. We're watching all of these things happen. We're watching MS-13 come in, be welcomed in through sanctuary cities that are being funded by the GOP into our country, and then they're murdering our children with opioids.
I mean, it doesn't. And now, we're not compassionate. We want to build a wall. No, check this out. I want to get off the wall foolishness, because that's part of that fool's foolishness. See, we the people, we have a wall. We have a constitution. We do. What it is that you send spineless people in there that just won't implement the Constitution. Period. And then you say that they have to go along to get along. See, that's foolishness. That's foolishness. See, we're compassionate. We're all immigrants. You hear me say it all the time. We may have come here on 2 separate ships. And I might have to add in under 2 separate tunnels. I might have to add that to my speech. But the point I'm trying to make is this. It's not that we're incompassionate to the immigrants and things like this. We just want them to do it legally. Why? Because that's a process so that we know where MS-13 person potential and all this kind of stuff. And for our government to be funding people sanctuarying people like this and stuff like this, it's just ridiculous.
This is where Phil and I differ just a bit, because I believe the rule of law that we have, the immigration laws that we have right now in America should be enforced, and they should have been all along. We wouldn't be in this situation.
I agree with that.
I absolutely oppose.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
I absolutely oppose amnesty because I believe in.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not for amnesty in any way, shape, or form. No, I am for figuring out a way to get these people to go to the back of the line, because we cannot dismiss the hard work, labor, funds, blood, sweat, and tears of the people who's doing this legally. Don't get me wrong now. I'm not for amnesty. But I understand that what's going on here has been, we didn't kick the can down the road way too long to where we got to be realistic about what's happening. We can't Eisenhower run out and send people just to round up people and stuff like this, because guess what? We just passed a tax cut that's going to cost us trillions, so we don't have trillions or more. For this. So don't get me wrong, I'm not for amnesty.
And that's the way you compromise. The way what Phil just said, that is the way you come with a compromise. What the GOP is doing is they are utterly surrendering to the left. This is a compromise. I see exactly what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying.
Let's just be realistic, because guess what? If we agree that we're going to heap this expense on we're past our children and grandchildren now. We're at our grandchildren's grandchildren. And then what really scares me is, since Jesus is being put out everything, we might not even get to that point. Yep. So, but just being somewhat optimistic, if we all agree we're going to heap this expense on our great-great-grandchildren, then let's all agree on this thing and do it and get it over with and be done. And let's send a signal that we do things. We implement our rule of law. Let's do it. But if we're not going to do it, we got to come up with something better than what's happening now. Yep. I tell you that much now. Yep. And all these campaigns, build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it. Or we're going to make them reimburse. Matter of fact, I sent them an IOU. And then we get, next thing you know, they're going to come and shovel your snow to pay for the wall. And all this kind of foolishness, man. Come on, people. It's ridiculous. It's not conservative. It's totally un-American. And it proves Donald Trump right in one regard. If I run, I'll run as a Republican, because Republicans are stupid.
I personally like the wall idea, but I know it's not going to work. And I know it's not going to happen. And I certainly know Mexico's not going to pay for it.
They're not going to pay for it. I mean, these dudes hit the F word better than Trump did. I'm not going to pay for your wall. I'm not going to do it. Man, I wish you would, man. You know who I am, man. I'm not going to pay for your freaking wall. I mean, come on, man. Come on, people. This is utterly... But here's the most dangerous part of the whole thing. Instead of holding them accountable for the lies that they're telling you and things like this, you rather beat up on us. You rather find a way to get behind your keyboard and thumbnail and beat up on another American.
And screenshot my post. I mean,
I'd be honest with you. I wish more of my stuff got screenshot. I'd be a little bit jealous. Hey, man, make me feel important. Screenshot me, man.
Next time I get one, then I'm going to say, hey, Phil, guess what? I got another screenshot.
Screenshot me. Man, I feel left out. I feel miserable.
Y'all screenshot.
I need to be screenshotted. I don't know. I mean, that's a badge of honor to me, man. Come on, I need to be screenshot.
I'll wear it proudly too.
Will you guys screenshot me, please?
I'll wear it on my. I'll wear it, that badge proudly on my left.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt that says "I've been screenshotted." But anyway, another thing that just popped up here. It's not that we agree on everything.
Right.
That's not the American way. That's iRobot number 2. That's iRobot 2 when you start to agreeing on everything. Mm-hmm. Come on, that's not who we are. We're not robots. You know, Jesus made us different. That means our thought processes are different. Let's embrace it. Let's just not be disagreeable. Mm-hmm. And especially for a politician that has proven that a special interest, a special this, or a special seat
will
haven't abandoned.
Will persuade him to give the sink, unload the sink to the left.
And let's not say him because everybody's going to think we're just talking about Cruz.
No, I'm not
Her
talking
too.
about Cruz.
Them.
I'm talking about all of them.
We the people,
That's
not
been
them,
proven.
the government.
Yeah. Let's talk about the economy.
Oh my God.
This is my thing. Let's talk about it.
Because let's talk about the new 30 pieces of silver. Why you need to just keep bending over.
It's important to tell the truth about what's happening in the economy
Come on,
because
man.
it's the same truth we were telling when it was the Obama economy. And it seems to be overlooked now that it's Trump that has control of Obama's economy. First of all, do you all remember in the primaries when Trump was touting the 4% GDP and his followers are going, no, it's going to be 5%. Trump's going to give us 5% GDP, which most of them probably don't even know what that means. But anyway, do you know what the GDP is right now? Does anybody know? I don't know if anybody can. It's 2.2%. And that's exactly what it was under Obama. So with the GDP being at the rate it is, and I actually read this morning, Phil, did you read about the 72 more stores closing, Sears stores closing?
Oh, yeah. I heard
Sears is closing more stores. Harley Davidson's moving. Do you all remember that right after the tax reform that really isn't reform because you can't have reform without spending cuts? Okay, so the tax reform, Walmart came out and announced that they were going to give bonuses to all their employees, and they were stoked about this tax cut.
Gas prices took all that away. But anyway, go ahead.
1 week later, within a week, Sam's comes out and announces they're closing. I don't even remember how many stores, but you're like,
yeah, hundreds.
Okay, so
yes.
You're trying to tell me that everybody's getting bonuses and all the Sam stores are closing, or lots of the Sam stores are closing. So what's up with that? And then you have Toys R Us, which, the story with Toys R Us has been that they've been restructuring for a long time. They've been under restructuring for many years, and then they came out of restructuring. They were in, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, I think it was, and they restructured after that, and they've been trying to build, and they were doing well for a while. And then all of a sudden, it's Amazon's fault. They're going out of business. I don't know, whatever. But all you have to do, really, people, is drive down the road in your town and look at all the empty storefronts. I mean, you have the large retailers that are closing. You are moving out of Carrier, who we were promised would stay in America. They're actually...
Didn't they get some of our tax money?
Yeah. And then, and then you have the smaller retailers. And I'll give you an example. Yankee Candle. Yankee Candle's out. And all of this has been under the Trump economy. Now, I'm not going to say that I blame all of that on Trump, because the economy is something that's kind of inherited. But what you do with that inheritance makes a difference. Trump hasn't done anything with the economy that he inherited to make a difference to save these businesses. And not that it's the government's job to save the businesses, but if the government is strangling the business owners with regulations, with taxes, with the government being involved in anything is going to strangle. That's the most freedom strangling thing to a business person, is when the government sticks their nose in it. Okay, well, that's the problem. Government won't get out of it. And so, and I liken this economy to, I'm going to compare it to a tube of toothpaste with the cap screwed on. What the tax reform did, Trump squeezed the middle and all the crap went to the ends of the toothpaste. And eventually what's going to happen if you keep squeezing that toothpaste all the way up, it's going to explode. Okay, so that is exactly what this tax reform did, because the spending doesn't stop. It didn't get cut. In fact, we have more spending, and they're trying to offset. What they did is just reshuffle the deck chairs, because what is happening with the economy is you have more government spending now because we have new programs we have to fund. There are no real regulations being cut. There were some, but they're always being replaced by 2 or 3 more. So the regulations aren't going anywhere. Taxes on businesses, yeah, they got a tax break, but when you're paying more in gas taxes and more in all these, you're not really getting a tax break. And the $25 you're getting in your pocket, that's been canceled out from the tax cut, from the gas tax increases and so forth. So what we're watching happen is we're waiting for the economy just to explode or implode.
Now, here's my take on it. Here's my take on it. A man who is coming to office sticking Americans with the bill for his towers and his businesses is now all of a sudden an expert on the economy. Who in Sam Hill. Yeah, Sam Hill would say that tariffs are a good thing? Who? This man is, to me, when I hear Donald Trump talk about tariffs, one, not only does it sound massively liberal.
It's Bernie Sanders style liberal.
Come on. Not only that, but it almost sounds like mafia extortion type stuff. It's like he wants some kind of deal with the people he's threatening with the tariff. Like the ZTE thing. Boom, he gets $500 billion investment from China. Now all of a sudden, ZTE. Hey, hold on a second, man. They tapping into Americans, espionage, all kinds of stuff. That don't matter. ZTE. Why? Because they're building something for Mr. T, DT. Build something. Mm-hmm. So the point is this. Tax cut comes, gas prices go up, tax cut gone. Tax cut comes, and then this is the thing that really ticks me off the high heaven. I'm not allowed to say nothing because he's done more for black people than Obama. So you're telling me that I should be able to be bought? Because I tell you, I mentor young black males all day long. This is what I do for a living. And the economy's not too good in the hood. I'm telling you, it's not.
It's not any good anywhere.
How can the economy be good in the hood and you see crime every day on your TV? You see our young people being shot and murdered in the street all day long. I thought, wasn't that the Obama thing? Get black people jobs and they'll stop killing each other? Isn't that what they were saying? So what's the difference? Orange is the new black. It's still not good. The things that need to happen in the community is not happening in the community because you're waiting for your politician to make it happen. They're not designed to make it happen in your community. You are, we are, she is, I am, us together. And it doesn't take much. We don't need to have $400 government hammers to go fix our neighbor's porch. We don't need to have some kind of union rep to take union dues from us in order for us to go help somebody cross the street. We don't have to have
a pay-to-play design
in order to go get our kids not to do dope. We don't have to have some kind of filibuster so that our children will stop being human trafficked. It costs too much to have government do it. And it takes way too long. How about make help not cost a dime and then we can afford it?
How about stop funding the murders of 3,000 babies every day and we might be able to afford to do these things that need to be done?
How about not let our children and our young people only here have sex and do dope and have sex and do dope all day long, that they can't take care of what happens when they have sex and do dope? Then we won't have to have abortions. How about we, the people, come together and teach some kind of sexual responsibility? How about that? How about not let just uncontrollable sexual desires be implemented on TV through cartoons? Guess what? Mickey Mouse don't need a girlfriend. How about not let Disney and all these people give sexual suggestions and subliminal messages to our children? How about that? How about we, like little Jimmy, he's 12 years old, and he says, I can't afford to have a girlfriend. I ain't there yet.
Little Jimmy's about the Bible, though.
He says, even if you're not, I'm waiting because I'm not into formula making. Yeah, I like you. There's none as sprung as me. Life is already too hard for someone as young as me. That's why I'm waiting till I can support myself, get a couple more life skills under my belt. Since I like you, here's how I'll prove it to you. I'm waiting till I can support you and say I do. See, why can't our children get those messages through the music? Versus thong to thong, thong, thong. Oh, that's a little too old. Let me bring it up a little closer. Molly Percocet, Molly Percocet. You my hoe, you my side piece, and all this kind of stuff. Why can't functioning conservatism brings those kind of things? We the people can make those kind of things go viral, just like that. And make sure our politician knows that we, the people, are doing something and we're sending you to Washington to protect our ability to do it for ourselves. That's freedom. But anyway, what's the next thing on the list?
All right. Let's see. I actually need to address, and I don't know if he's watching, but Sean Z. Because Sean Z actually, and I think I did earlier.
I love Sean.
Yeah.
I love Sean.
Well, and Sean.
I know you guys have differences, but I'm just letting you know I love Sean Z.
And
Sean Z is the man.
What I have a problem with
Okay.
is anybody who puts the personality over the principle. And what I saw from Sean last night, I don't know if you're watching, Sean, but respectfully understand where I'm coming from here, is that while I was watching you promote comprehensive gun control, in your reply to me, my first reply, because you said, we need to make sure the bad guys don't get guns. Well, who's going to make sure that the bad guys don't get guns? The 535 swamp members up there that are voting to murder babies? Doctors? Here we go. How about the liberal social justice warriors? Do they get to decide? Who is it that gets to decide who's bad and who's good? These are the same issues and the same conversations that we were having under Obama. Okay, it's not any different because Donald Trump has actually implemented some of the strongest anti-2A legislation by executive fiat that have ever been implemented in this country with the bump stocks. That was huge. It was one of the largest since, in many, many decades, but probably ever, because he did it by executive fiat. So the next person that comes along, and I'm not going to say Republican or Democrat because it really doesn't matter, the next person that comes along to run for president, if they are opposed to gun 2A in any way, shape, or form, or if they support gun control measures or whatever, they can just implement them by executive fiat. Now, if Obama had done that, America would be, I have no doubt, would be in an inferno right now. Okay? But Trump did it, so it's okay. And actually even being excused. The excuse that I'm hearing is, I don't use bump stocks anyway.
Yeah. And see, it starts with bump stocks,
Really?
and then it goes to this, and it goes to that, and it goes to this. It's, everything, we have to understand something, man. This is one thing I learned about liberalism. They mastered the art of long suffering. Mm-hmm. They are the chip away for another day kind of thought process. See, we kick the can down the road. We think we have to get along with the other side of the aisle. And they go like this, man, if we could just get this little piece, you'll look like you really care about black people, and you'll look like you really care about the kids, and you don't want the kids to be suffering. You don't want kids to get beat to death. You got 100 million kids, 5 million of them are abused by 5,000 are abused by their children, so then you let the 100 million get discipline taken away so you can protect the 5,000. See, that's not smart to me.
No, while you're murdering 3,000 a day,
Exactly.
and while you're leaving our other children in the schools to be
Exactly.
sitting ducks because you will not end the gun-free zone.
It's like the liberals pointing out Roseanne Barr for being a racist, and every single one of their policies is racist. That's what we've conceded because of compromise. Now the liberal media can say, we care about black people. How do you care about black people when you guys are the ones that got the TMZs showing the gold-toothed gangster stank rappers, always misogynistic, idealistic, materialistic, devilistic, and you keep elevating these people to rock star status, but you care about racism? When little Dookie Stain is doing more racist stuff to his own people than anything. He's perpetuating the kind of things that make people clutch their purse when black people come. Got this sagging pants kid that look like the APB, the All Points Bulletin, on the people who just robbed the Metro store. And this is promoted by liberal media. But they can come and tell you that Roseanne Barr is racist. I'll tell you Roseanne Barr is racist. And I'll tell you that the liberals are racist.
Well, Roseanne Barr is a liberal, so I mean that kind of. And that's the twisted concept in all of this, is that Roseanne Barr, because she supports Trump, the whimsical R is being outcast by the liberals. But I mean, she's a liberal. I mean, she actually stood on stage at a pro-life or a pro-choice rally or whatever and told pro-lifers to go F themselves. Okay, this is the woman that we're talking about. That's after she dressed like Hitler and burnt cookies that were shaped like Holocaust victims. Okay, this is the woman we're talking about. Don't tell me she's not racist, because she is.
And then the bigger point I would love to make, even though I just explained to you racism, if we insert Jesus Christ into that, we'll see that it's just humanity sinning. It's just sin. It's not, sin doesn't have a party. Sin created a party so that you could blame it on the party. Bible lesson, go back to Adam. Right? See, the punishment for sin is because Adam blamed God. See, God has a problem with blame. See, sin, the punishment for sin wasn't administered when they ate the apple. Hey, baby, eat this. No, that wasn't when it was administered. That's when he pointed it out. Hey, what happened here? You guys violated something I told you, didn't you? Here's where the problem came. Instead of Adam saying, my bad. Yeah, God, we violated something you told us not to do. What can I do? Can I work some overtime? Can I get what can I do to accept responsibility for what I did? That's not what happened. Adam blamed. He didn't blame the donkey, the mule, the tree. He blamed the man who blessed him with the woman. He blamed the one who blessed him. It's because of that woman you gave me. And that's when God said, oh, snap. No, you didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. Now I'm about to cut you. See, as long as we continue to blame, we will always remain the same. We got to stop blaming. Sin created blame so that you never address sin. Sin created black people and white people. God didn't. He created people and said they all fall short. Yes, they might have had a tribe or two here and there and things of this nature, but God didn't create that. And he hates blame. He punishes blame. This is why we can't be blessed. It's not racism. It's humanism. It's jealousy. It's greed. It's sin.
And that's why accountability is so important.
Accountability is so important. And so now, with the majority of Christians that we have left in this country, it's been shrinking. It's been shrinking. But we still have the majority. If we stop trying to justify two evils and lesser of evils, and we stop doing all this kind of stuff, and we just get back to God-like accountability, we might even be able to win 2018, because God can do some amazing things in a short period of time. That's how he is. We definitely have a chance for 2020. But the point is this, and as long as we continue to blame, try to protect the seat, God never wanted us to have the seat. He gave us his son, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine how God feels when he sees God's people beating up on God's people over God's person? A person? Can you imagine how the Lord, did you say you pray and you teach your children about? Can you imagine how he feels?
Flipping tables.
Come on. You can't find a table Jesus flipped over in the world. He flipped them over in the body of Christ. Because we're being too distracted by material things and worldly things. We're selling things in the church. We turn it into the new Toys R Us, and if you come on my show and if you send a seed of $111, I'll send you some dirt from Israel. And come on. Buy this bucket of food because God, the hell is coming and God said there'll be no food. So then why are you selling food if God said there was not going to be any? Come on.
Hey, by the way, there's Summit coins out there all over the place for sale, I'm sure, you know.
I mean, Jim Baker, this thing was amazing. He's selling a bucket of food. as doomsday survival. At the same time telling you God said that you will not be able to find any food. This is amazing to me. You're going to buy something that's going to circumvent what God said. For a seed of $54.99, you can get you some food that God said that's not going to be there when you really need it. Come on, people. This is how amazing we have become. This is amazing. And this very same person said, God sent Donald Trump to save you. But you got to read the very small print. Got to overlook the 3 marriages, 3 divorces, 3. Got to overlook all these factors. All these people. Got to overlook the child molesters and Joe Epstein. Got to overlook all that stuff. Do you think God overlooked all that stuff? God made sure Jesus never had that stuff, and that's what He sent to save us. I'm just saying. If you'd like to send a tithe and offering to the Phil Williams Church. What else we got on the list, Lita?
Oh, I think we've covered, and the wall. I got to cover the wall.
Let's cover the wall.
So this is the interesting thing. A lot of the Trump supporters are now touting this wall that's being constructed on the southern border of Arizona between Arizona and California, I believe. The wall actually has always been there. It's been there and had nothing to do with Trump. What's happened is the people, the ranchers in the southern part of Arizona, were sick and tired of going and fighting their local politicians, their state politicians, to try and get funding for the wall. So they actually started raising money themselves to continue with the wall on the southern border of Arizona, because they have cattle there, and the cattle were, obviously were being killed or stolen or whatever, and they're crossing through on their property and so forth. So the wall that you're actually seeing in all these pictures is not a new wall. It's been there. And any addition to that wall is being funded by whatever, not by the federal government, but whatever money is being raised by the Arizonas on the southern border of Arizona, the ranchers there, and whatever money that their local government has allotted for them to continue this wall. Actually, it's supposed to be a fence is what's supposed to continue being funded, but I don't know how much money the ranchers have raised. They may have raised enough money to continue the funding, but the wall that you're seeing is not a wall that's been funded. There has been zero money appropriated for Trump's wall. Zero. None. Not a single red cent. Okay, so any money that you see, or any wall that you see. Oh, and here's another thing. Have you seen the examples of the walls that Trump went out to all these companies and had them build little examples of the wall, like what types of wall can we build? Well, there's this type, and they take pictures of them, and they send them out all over social media so that people get all pumped up about this wall that the government's never even agreed to fund, and certainly the Mexican government's never agreed to fund like we were promised. But anyway, so there's the idea that there's this wall coming, and they're using the pictures of the old wall in Arizona to try and make you think that that's exactly what's going to happen. Well, I'm here to tell you that until the American government and the American people agree to fund this wall, it's not going to happen.
Wow.
Not going to happen.
And now, I didn't like the asinine promise in the first place. I didn't like it. Because
it's not going to work.
Because I'm a fiscal conservative too. So I know that. Isn't this what we complained about for 8 years? Anything that the government does that Barack Obama's proposing, that if you don't have the money to pay for it, then that means you got to borrow it from China, and we're going to be more in debt to China. And, because that's kind of interesting when I hear Donald Trump beat up on China, and if China was to call in their debt on us, we would be in trouble. But he's beating up on the people that's funding our Social Security and our pensions and things. That doesn't mean that you kiss China's butt. I'm not saying that. But the point is this, as a conservative, I want to know how it's going to be paid for. This is why Donald Trump knew you were stupid. He ran on Mexico's going to pay for it because he knows as a conservative, you're going to say, we don't have the money to pay for it. And if you want to have money to pay for it, you're going to have to cut out food stamps and cut out all these social programs. And been trained to believe that's a death spiral because they're going to shut down the government and the conservatives are going to be blamed for it. So he ran on Mexico's going to pay for it because he knew that we weren't. Weren't we the ones saying we shouldn't be going to war because we can't pay for it? We wouldn't have went into Afghanistan if we didn't have the $700 billion surplus that Clinton produced. Come on now, people. They was able to go into Afghanistan because we had a surplus. And remember when they floated the idea we're going to take the money from the oil that's over there? Remember this? Because now we're going, it can be paid for. Democrats and Republicans said, okay, this is how it's going to be. So the point is this. He said Mexico's going to pay for it because he knew we couldn't. Now all of a sudden he got you scared to death and made you believe that you got to have one when there's really one there. Like Lita said, enforce the laws that we have, and it takes care of a lot of this.
That's all you need. Enforce the laws that are on the
book.
book.
But now you're cool with Donald Trump's base saying government, we the people should pay for the wall. Don't forget that's a hardcore 30% telling the other 70% what to do. That's un-American. That's un-American. We can't afford it. But we can afford to enforce our laws. We can. As far as the compassion is concerned, matter of fact, I'm supporting an organization called ARC. My friend Randy Muth.
And Steve Brand is absolutely right. The surplus came from Clinton Robbins' Social Security.
Come on, and then it collapsed the housing. But anyway,
yep.
Randy Muth and ARC, they're an organization that helps support people getting their citizenship. They have this cool app. See, right now, Randy has under his belt, he's got over 600 people their citizenship through their hard work and making sure their paperwork and this and that, because he encourages them to come out of the shadows if they got to go back, whatever it takes for them to get their citizenship, to become legal citizens. Something all of us conservatives should support. See, that's functioning conservatism at its best. Instead of complaining about what they're doing and not doing, let's help them do it because we want people to come to America. This is what makes America the beacon of hope to the whole world. But we want you to do it legally. So there's a system that Randy is building to where they can turn 600 plus in the course of 5 years into almost 20,000 people going through this thing legally, not hiding in the shadows, not none of this foolishness. And it would require our support. I'm going to be bringing this out because I'm a functioning conservatism. And when I can see things that can function and help conservatism, I'm going to support it. I'm just giving you a heads up. But these are the kind of things that are out there. We can enforce our laws and we can help people become legal citizens. Without amnesty. Without amnesty. There's things we can do, people. But we got to get back to the true nature of why this union was formed. This experiment, that's what it was. This experiment was what? To show what people power is versus government power. Our founding escaped slaves, the founding fathers. They escaped from a place where government ran everything. Told them how they can pray, when they can pray, if they can pray. And we're giving this experiment away to people that want government to run everything. Because we're becoming very lazy, in my opinion.
And then we keep creating laws, like going back to the gun control thing again. We have, in America, city, state, county, state, and federal laws. We have 35,000 gun laws on the record in America. 35,000 on the books right now in America. Do you know how many have stopped the recent shootings? Not one. Not one. Do you think that adding more gun control laws are going to stop anybody from walking into a school with a gun? The only thing that might is removing, look, if you have a shooter that's hell-bent to go into a school and shoot up a school, what is going to be the best deterrent for that person? If they think they're going to get a bullet between their eyes before they unload their first round, that would be the best deterrent, because they might think twice about walking in on that school knowing that people there would be armed. Now, I am no proponent of forcing teachers to be armed, of anybody to be armed. I do not believe if you don't want to possess a weapon, you shouldn't have to. But you certainly cannot intrude on my right to possess a weapon. So I am fully, perfectly fine as an American citizen with our government taking the money that they spend on Planned Parenthood and putting armed, tactically trained professionals in these buildings, or letting the teachers that want to arm themselves and are prepared to defend our children to do just that.
And now myself, Phil, cool with all that. After you let me come in there and pray for the kid that wants
Amen.
to. Let me be able to pray for the children.
Yes.
Let me be able to share the children that's bullying children. Let me be able to share with them a Bible story of how a bully works. And why they shouldn't want to be bullies. Let me come in there and share with them the love of Christ.
Amen.
Let me find that kid that's isolated off to the side, wearing trench coats in 100-degree heat. Let me be able to go over there and talk to them and share with them every single bullet I have in my gun. And what is my bullet? The love of Jesus. What's wrong, young man? You look mighty hot today. What's going on? Can I get you an ice cream cone? Can we be buddies? I know that you don't know how to play football like me, but I would really love to have you in the stand cheering me on.
Functioning conservative.
Versus, you don't play football, man. Get away from me with your little silly coat on and your funny looking hairstyle and bullying them to where they don't have no recourse. See, the love of the Lord can make it so that, guess what? Even if teachers had guns, they probably wouldn't have to use them. The very same people that's telling you that we got to take guns away from everybody are the ones that's taking Jesus away from everybody too.
Amen.
That doesn't make sense to me. That makes no sense.
Let freedom ring.
How are you going to share love?
And the Bible back into our schools.
How are you going to share love when you can't share the person that made the ultimate sacrifice because he loved you?
Amen.
He died on the cross to prove his love. His father said, I send my only begotten son to die for you so that you don't have to kill nobody else. But you replace Jesus with albuterol and side effects from Adderall and all kinds of foolishness like this.
Yeah.
When one of the problems is some entitled, sniveling kid that feels that he can go ridicule another kid because he doesn't have the same shoes that he has on. Doesn't play the same sports that they play. Don't listen to the same music. Don't wear the same clothes that they wear. And then now they click up together and make fun and tease and bully and point fingers. Jesus can fix that. Jesus can fix it. And if you don't want Jesus, love can fix it. Yes, you know you can love without Jesus. I suggest that you don't because I want you to go to heaven. But the point is that people without Jesus can love too. Not love to make fun of people. Mm-hmm. Not love to be popular. Mm-hmm. But do remember this. The poor will always be amongst you. Mm-hmm. So if somebody is hell-bent on killing somebody, they will do it with pencil shavings.
No matter how many laws you have in place.
No matter.
Now, if you have another person there that's willing to stop that person by putting whatever means necessary, if they're armed, to stop that person from doing it.
Man, because guess what? Right now, I think they're going to tell all teachers they got to have basketballs because the one guy stopped the guy with the basketball, so they're going to tell them to have basketballs.
Pencils. Hey.
Come on, paper clips and rubber bands. I gotta be. Come on, man. How about just
staplers?
How about love?
Yeah, exactly.
How about I can send my child armed with, if he's going to be killed, how about I send my baby armed with the Bible? So when that guy runs into the classroom and gets ready to shoot my child can say, before you kill me, can I share a scripture with you? Before you take me out, can I share with you this? How about our babies armed? Oh no. You want our babies to have 5-gallon buckets of rocks in the classroom, and you're going to teach my child that got the gym program taken away with their limp noodle arm to throw rocks like Palestinians at gun shooters. Come on, people, are we serious? This is what liberalism does. This is why I'm utterly against it. I don't give liberalism a room to breathe. I pray for them because they are God's children too. They're God's misguided children. But we got to pray, people.
And we also need to understand that liberalism has twisted its way into what used to be Republican culture, and there is no such thing as a difference between a Republican and a Democrat anymore. There is a duopoly in Washington, D.C., and that duopoly is in control, and we see what's happening. We see what's being funded. We see the things that our government is still sending our money to.
And this is
stealing our money to send to.
And this is why I'm we the people versus them the government.
Amen.
That's why. The government has a place. I am not going to be that black power dude, overthrow the government. No. I'm not trying to I'm just trying to shrink them in our dynamic of solutions.
Our founding fathers lived under the principle that we could govern ourselves. That's why I'm identifying more these days with anarchists, because that's what they believe. We self-government. I believe in self-government, and that's actually the premise behind the Constitution. They believed that we would be represented by our representatives that we sent to Washington, and you see how that's worked out for us. So,
and my pastor, Jimmy A. Copeland, he's an advocate for being radical. Radical is something that's loud. It's out there. It's outside the box, but it does come back to a principle of love, of togetherness, of appreciating people's differences. See, we're being fundamentally transformed into where we're all ADD.
There has to be
there's an appreciation of differences disorder.
Respect.
That's the problem. Mm-hmm. It shows in our Facebook groups. You can't appreciate the fact that Lita's different than you. What makes you not appreciate the fact that she has a different point of view? Because of your utter ideological aspect to a person. If her principle is solid, the person shouldn't matter.
Well, that's the problem, Phil. The problem is that the principles are wavering with these personalities.
Yep.
And actually, I'm seeing this happen, and it's astounding.
I don't like it when you get beat up over a person. You are a person. You are the leader of your world. Your representative should represent you. So if you're fine with, let's say, Ted Cruz, if you're fine with the way Ted Cruz maneuvers, and if you're cool with coming up with 4-dimensional chess, if you're cool with that, I'm cool with you being cool with that. But you have to be cool with me not being cool with it. You have to. That's how it goes. It's better to give than to receive. I'm cool with you saying that. Let me share with you why I'm not going to say that. If you don't want to hear why I'm not with that, don't ask me for my money. Do your thing. That's the number one argument I've always made with Ted Cruz or anybody. See, I don't have Rand Paul emails, so you don't hear me talk about Rand Paul. I don't have Mike Lee emails, so you don't hear me talk about Mike Lee. And all these dudes have wavered on some of this foolishness, saying that they're conservative, libertarian, or whatever. You don't hear me talk about Marco Rubio, because I don't get emails from Marco Rubio asking me for my money. But I do get emails from Donald Trump. I get emails from liberals. And I get emails from Ted Cruz. I'm in Georgia. And I'm armed with an opinion. And so if I ask you for your money, you have the right to say, Phil, I don't like what you said on November 10th last year. I'm not giving you my money. It's not for me to respond back, you're a hater, and you hate positivity, and you want to see this country fail, and you wanted to go to liberals. It's not for me to return with that. Guess what? There's something I did that you didn't like, and you're voicing that opinion. It's for me to understand that, appreciate that, and not brush it under the rug. Not make you feel like you're less than human. Why? Because I asked you for your money. So that means I have to be able to accept your ridicule. Period. But one thing that's different between me and any of those politicians, I'm producing conservative works. And I'm not saying I'm just one man. I'm doing it as one man with the help, like the Bible said. If 2 or 3 are gathered in Jesus' name, Jesus is in the midst. And we can do some amazing things when Jesus is there. So yes, I am just one man, trying to show you that you're just one man. And we can do some things just as one man. We don't have to have political excuses and say, I'm only one, I can't do anything, I'm only one. Because my Jesus shows that that's all it takes, is one. So I don't mind asking for your support. If you don't give it, it's still going to get done. And I hope I've proven that. And I hope that I never stop proving it. And when I do, I want you to hold me accountable. But you can't have it both ways. He's the only one, and he's only one. That doesn't work for me. Oh, he or she. Sorry.
Have you guys have got the Jacob's Ladder CD? It's awesome. My kids love it. I don't mind letting my kids listen to it. It's positive. It's inspiring.
Hey,
it's awesome.
Functioning conservatism. Hey, my phone has been blowing up. This has been maybe a 2-hour show. I hope you guys watch it, share it. I hope that you got some good stuff out of it. Is there anything else, Lita, you like?
Y'all support this man. He needs your support. He's working his rear end off here in Georgia and all over the country. Help him get these things done, because he's right. We have to function as conservatives to spread conservatism or principles.
Execute conservative values, continuously producing something that
and stand
tangible,
on principle.
Producing something tangible to support those values. Mm-hmm. That's what functioning conservatism is. Mm-hmm. If you guys like to make a donation, you can donate to our PayPal through our 501c3 Men on Point or an investment. And you can go to Lil Jimmy DJ Poz, LILJIMMY DJ POZ .jimdo, JIMDO, jimdo.com. And you see the donate button there. It's a cool investment. Please make a donation. We are on our way for a week trip in Ohio. Ohio is has the second largest opioid crisis in the nation. My hometown, Akron, Ohio, is number 1 in the state when it comes to opioid deaths. So I'm going back home. We've got a lot of things set up. We're going to implement our Jacob's Ladder project there. Your support would be greatly appreciated. I would love to come to your neighborhood. We can do this thing. Trust me, it doesn't take many. It just takes an effort. And we can function conservatism and function Christianity. We can function the love that we see is missing while the malfunctioning of Washington gets itself together. We have to do something for our babies, because right now it seems like Washington, the only thing they got going for our babies is chopping them up in the womb and keep it paid and funded. The very same politicians that want to disarm legal citizens can't go disarm the Crips and Bloods out in Chicago. The very same politicians that want to disarm and comprehensive gun control are afraid to go. They'll brag about rounding up MS-13, but man, I know some gangster disciples and Crips and Bloods all over the country need to be rounded up if that's the case. They're not law-abiding citizens, and they're gunning down law-abiding citizens, but it seems like the only comprehensive gun control you want to have is against law-abiding citizens. Yes, if they're crazy as a bed bug, let us pray for them. Let us have Jesus. Because that bed bug has been trampled out by Jesus many times. Not some kind of no-fly list. You just created a no-pray list, and that's why people are flying crazy. Hey, I can do this all day. Love you, Lita.
Love you too, Phil.
You want to say something else?
Thank you for letting me come in. I was just going to say, love you guys. See, Linda said she loves us.
A lot of guys.
Love you guys.
And a lot of good points. And yes, I did see the one point. I forgot who said it. Yes, we're not all immigrants. Some of us were born here. I understand that. Don't read too much into it. We're a country of immigrants. Yes, some were born here. So the point is this. We can do a lot better than what we're doing.
I kept my left hook holstered today.
Hey, guys, remember this. We may have come here on 2 separate ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And it takes both the black and white keys on the piano to play the Star Spangled Banner. So peace, love, together forever. Don't worry. Be happy and feel that energy. And remember, what you are is God's gift to you. What you do with yourself is your gift to God. Only one life will be passed, but only what's done while you're here will last. We were blessed before we had color. So engage your mind and answer one question. Did this hardcore truth inspire you, or is it going to have you unfriend us? Doesn't matter. Both ways, we're still going to do what we got to do to save our country. I love you. Congratulations to Lita's children, all of them excelling, graduating, and moving to the next level. All of our children out there that graduated this season, please have a safe summer. Please do not take any wooden nickels, and understand Donald Trump is not going to be here forever. But your morals and values will help you stay here a lot longer than him. Hey, I love you guys. Thank you for all you crew supporters. I hope that we made our point very, very clear. We do not want Beto to win. We do not. We just want that green eggs and ham Ted Cruz. That's all we're asking for. That dude is awesome. But if we can't have him, hey, let the chips fall where they may. Don't ask me for my money. I won't give you my opinion. Love you guys. Talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.